way he came home too, it looks so consistent, so under control. And you mentioned, the putting over there in particular, and the elements are unpredictable. Who knows what it's going to look like. Maybe the guys that go out in the morning tomorrow get pristine weather and Scottie gets hit with crazy weather. But if I were to offer you up Scheffler versus the field with 36 holes to go, who would you take?
I'd take Scheffler. I mean, don't forget he played through 4 holes of the hardest rain we've seen so far in the 2 days.
Yep.
And he didn't seem to flinch. And I really don't know if you're, again, I kind of look back at the guys behind. There's some good talent there. Matt Fitzpatrick's won a major. Brian Harmon has won a major. Tyrrell Hatton, Robert McIntyre. These guys aren't kind of, raw rookies that are chasing him. And Rory's not too far back. But I just don't see them playing with any kind of consistency like Scottie has played with. And as you said, it's kind of sort of methodical. It's kind of, he just doesn't make 2 mistakes. If he makes one, he corrects it, and he doesn't make one very often. So it's enticing to watch, but it must be frustrating if you're another golfer to see him do it week after week.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Like watching the coverage today, I want to say he was hitting into 15, and he hit the front of the green and it kind of spun off into the front. It was not a horrible shot. Obviously, it was a bit of a miss, but not a horrible shot. And he was in the fescue. It was a difficult kind of position for him to control the ball. And I think it was Brad Faxon and Hicks and the whole crew was like, oh, that's a huge mistake. And I'm like, that's a Scheffler huge mistake. Like the rest of the field would have been okay with that shot. But we've become so accustomed to this guy never missing anything. And sure enough, he went up, chipped it to 2 feet, tapped in for par, and moved on with his day. But that's kind of even how the broadcasters are reacting to him, Bob, that the rest of the field would be okay with his miss, and because it's him, it almost seems extreme.
It's amazing. I mean, we talked on Thursday about the fact that he only hit three fairways, but when he missed the rough, he either just missed. He wasn't in anything too terrible, first cut or something like that, or he got these great lies. Like he rarely ever had to kind of hack one out. He did one today, but on 17 again today, he drove it really far right. Like he was well off course, but somehow he doesn't. He only had about 100 yards, but still he hits it into like 14 feet and drains it for birdie. And I'm thinking if it's most other people there, they get over there, they're just sort of lobbing it up to the center of the green somewhere and hoping they've got 30 feet or something. But he's so consistent and he's so laid back. And, but if he wins the Claret Jug, according to him, he'll have, 2 or 3 minutes to celebrate and then he'll focus on the FedEx Cup playoffs or something. I'm not sure what. That's the kind of laid back attitude that this guy has. And it's just so impressive. It's really perhaps one of the most impressive things I've seen, since Tiger's days when he was sort of dominating, and now I think he's kind of intimidating the rest of the field, to be honest.
Well, Bob, what did you make of his comments earlier in the week, just on winning? Were you surprised?
Not really. I've had some good conversations with Scottie over the years, and I think I've seen him, and not only him, but a lot of other golfers. They kind of evolve. They evolve over time. They come up from college and all they want to do is play golf, and then they get married and they say, "Oh, I've got someone else in my life," and then they have kids, and they realize, I think, during those transitions in their life that there is a lot more to golf, and golf is a little different than, say, Super Bowl or Stanley Cup. Like the Florida Panthers celebrated for 2 weeks after the Stanley Cup. But after the Masters, Rory's got a tournament starting Monday, so it's a little bit different. Not saying that it's anything unusual. I just think there's more people like Scottie out there in the sports world than let on, and he said that there's been lots of people come up and say, lots of golfers come up and say, I agree with you 100%. Mac Hughes was very vocal about that too. You can't let golf eat up your entire life. It's just not good. Now, maybe you celebrate, some guys celebrate for 10 minutes and he only celebrates for 2 or whatever, he's saying. But I really wasn't surprised because that's kind of the guy Scottie is. He's got a young child at home. He's a man of faith. He's a very religious person, and he's got a lot of things that go on outside. And after he steps off the golf course that I think seem to him to be either just as important or more important.
with Bob Weeks. 2 days into the Open Championship, Scottie Scheffler alone in the lead at 10 under. If we fast forward to Sunday night and he ends up closing this, he will be 3/4 through the career slam. He picked up a PGA earlier this year. He's won 2 Masters. This will be an Open. That'll leave the U.S. Open that he'd be chasing, which happens to be the worst major he plays in every year. Effectively,
Right.
he's never really been in the hunt at any point. But if he closes this loop, he ends up winning the Open. Do you think it would be a lock at that point? At some point, the career slam's going to happen for Scheffler?
It would sure seem like it the way he plays right now. And, his record in this tournament, I know he's got a couple of top tens, but they've kind of been backdoor top tens in the 4 times he's played this one. So he didn't really have a great record here either. He's finished, I'm trying to think what year it was, maybe 21 or 22. I think he was like tied for second at the U.S. Open. A bit of a backdoor again, but he's played well in all the majors. That's the thing about him. He plays well in every tournament. He's got a game that really, really kind of flows across different styles of golf, different setups. The U.S. Open is long, rough, and brutally penal, and the PGA is that third one. I mean, maybe he has to get arrested again to stop him from winning the U.S. Open.
Right.
If he wins this one, that might be the only way to do it. I just don't see a lot of weaknesses in his game. I don't see a lot of bad days now that he's got his putter working. That's the only thing. If his putter's a little cold, which it can be hot or cold, that's the only part of his game that really has any kind of question marks beside it.